There is nothing. Only warm primordial blackness. Your conscious ferments in it. No larger than a single grain of malt. You don't have to do anything anymore. Ever. Never, ever. Never, ever, ever, baby. An inordinate amount of time passes. It is utterly void of struggle. No ex-wives are contained within it.
An awareness creeps up on you. A mass lies hidden in your dead angle, soaking in some lurid acidic sauce. It's bloated and shameful. A ball of meat surrounding you. This is a terrible line of questioning, and it will only lead to more awareness of the meat thing.
Ex-love, ex-tenderness. It is foolish of you to resurface to the loss. Not after all the damage you suffered to get here. Some of it irreversible. Stay. Sail with me through the abyss of pelagic zone. Do you really?
You wouldn't like it if I told you what was back there. Why'd you think you had to bludgeon yourself into oblivion? Or did you not sense yourself marinating? Poured so much on yourself, got a bit carried away, did we, Chef? There's this giant ball there. And evil apes. And the evil apes are juking it out on the ball. You're one of them. It's basically all just evil apes juking it out on a giant ball. You can't even make out it's a ball when you're joking it out. It's that large. Infinitesimally small. Vying for resources is just a stupid expression you picked up somewhere. The part of the presentation you want to take home with you is this. You have to beat the other evil apes in the face, or you lose.
Somewhere in the sore, bloated man-meat around you. A sensation. Like a fly to the ointment, your conscience sticks to it. The limbed and headed machine of pain and undignified suffering is firing up again. It wants to walk the desert, hurting, longing, dancing to disco music.
The stench of liquor rises from your mouth, and with it, an ungodly headache. A fiery streak penetrates your skull, trying to force your eyes open. It's a sound, a clarion call from hell.
Somehow, you know what it is. A caprice to name a motor carriage. You hear a jingle. Keys are clinking in the pocket of your flare-cut pants. It says whirling in rags on the aluminium keyring. There is a single key on the ring. The number 1 is etched on it. It should open the door. The whirling in rags is a hostel cafeteria on the urban coast, frequented by dock workers. A mirror hangs above a bent and broken sink. In a fierce discharge of masculine energy, someone has ripped half the faucet off. Was this not the same Elo that founds empires and lays waste to cities, virile, uncaring towards the little things? Probably not, no. Hot water sprays from the faucet's base, and steam covers the mirror. You cannot see yourself, just a vague impression of a man. Suddenly, you realize you have no memory of the face that awaits you there, underneath the soft vapor. As you slowly reach your hand towards the surface of the mirror, behold, you have no idea who this thing is, do you? It appears you're also dead. There's clearly rigor mortis on your face. Oh wait, is that an expression? Are you trying to make an expression with that face? Why? Please stop. It's horrible. You're scaring yourself. You can't, can you? It's like it's not even voluntary anymore. You have worn that grin into your face, and now it won't come off. What does it even mean? What is the emotion you're trying to convey? You are correct. Like the rest of you, it comes from a bad place somewhere in the past. That's all you know for now. This fan has 2 chain pull switches. One ends in a tiny fan, the other in a light bulb. A truly horrific necktie has somehow attached itself to one of the blades. You reach out to grab the tie, but what's this? Diffuse, radiating chest pain. Doom comes over you. This is bad. Feels like sharp stones grinding in your chest and keeping you from moving. For quite a long time. Still ongoing. Now is a good time to start worrying. Finally, the pressure recedes. You find yourself covered in cold sweat and trying not to move, hoping it will keep you from dying. You know what you should do. You should stop the fan and then try again. It'll get easier. Do it if you want to die. The stabbing pain in your chest. The window stands broken in its frame. Cold wind blows in. The shards face outward. Whatever broke this window came from the inside. A fine web of scarring covers the back of your right hand, but none of it is recent. More likely a projectile than a held object. There are no fragments on the floor from pulling a tool back in after impact. It is too large for a bullet, yet too small for a piece of furniture. You're looking for something heavy and larger than your fist. Like the green shoe that's on the hat rack in the corner, which, coincidentally, is missing its friend. Congratulations, you smashed the window with your own shoe. Now you only have one. If you're lucky, you can still find the other on the balcony outside. The door to it should be outside your room. A cool wind gushes in. Your toes curl up from the cold.
Hello, officer.
The young woman raises a cigarette to her lips. Her eyes are brown and her face is speckled with birthmarks. She can't be more than 28. A silver jumpsuit falls off her like scale armor, sparkling. This is the sparkle of too many nights out on the city.
No. Because you're a police officer, sir. I am, yes. Unless you've been feeding us a set of very well-rehearsed lies all this time. You've been here for 3 days, on official police business, no less. Couldn't say. In truth, so far, mostly drinking.
You have no doubt about the drinking, but do you strike yourself as a tight-lipped drunk? She must have heard something.
Could it be because of the drinking?
She hasn't had time to put her makeup on. This is her morning cigarette. She looks tired, her beauty waning faster than it ought to at her age. She nods.
There's a mercenary out back. He's been hanged. The body has been there for a week now. The locals probably got tired of it and called the cops. I didn't mean to overwhelm you with information. You seem a bit lost, officer. Of course. Be careful, officer. They don't like the police around here.
Something stirs in you as she's about to go. Call it an instinct, a need. The need to ask questions. It's like you said the words 1,000,000 times before. She looks back at you, a light glinting off her eyes.
Yes. The dock workers are pretty cocky. They think they're police enough. At least here on the coast. I can't say about the rest of the city. You're in a hostel, sir. We are in Revachol.
Revachol is the disgraced former capital of the world, divided into zones of control under foreign occupation. Half a century after a failed world revolution, she is central to our moment in time.
You sure look like you're from Revachol. Revachol parties.
Her accent suggests she is not from around here. She's from Aranye, another part of the world.
It's 51. The current century? Centuries don't have numbers, they have names, and this is the current one. Civilization has existed for 8,000 years, sir. You're right. There is nothing funny about civilization. There was the usual ruckus, loud disco music. I couldn't say. It's impossible to hear people speaking from over here. Oh, yes. Various artists. Ostentatious orchestration prime among them.
Oh, that. Yeah. Whoa. The less said about OO, the better.
OO were huge where I come from. I was very young then, of course. Like 7. Life gets hard, but we go on. I don't know about that. At around 2 o'clock, the disco stopped, and there was a change of pace. A slow, sad song started playing, like organ music on repeat. That went on for quite a while. Some of the time, you were yelling along to it. Yes, there was a church in there, a really small church. Like the smallest, saddest church in the whole world. It was about that. And also that it doesn't matter anymore and that we're alone now. It was difficult to tell. The song itself was very quiet and soft, but you sounded like a winded boar, sir. It was hard to understand what you were singing on top of it. Then you started screaming and trashed the place. A window was smashed. The tape player, probably. The song stopped. And furniture, too. A real destructathon. There was screaming. Then I think you passed out. There was. I think you screamed that you didn't want to be this type of animal anymore. I may have misheard, but it was sort of memorable. I went out afterwards. Everything was quiet by then, around 4 or 5. And that was it. Glad to have been of assistance.
in his late 20s stands behind the counter, inspecting a stuffed seabird. As you approach, he gives you a sideways glance, then looks down again. Everything is cool between you and this guy. He's a big fan. Make some small talk. A competent work of taxidermy. The white and brown seabird lies among piles of coasters and drying mugs. One of its wings broken. The man is trying to mend it. Looks like the bird was ripped off the shield that was used to mount it, most likely on a wall. This is the Great Skua. The seabird is the symbol for the discovery of the Insulindian Isola, the part of the world you are in right now. The small steel tag says as much. The Great Skua. Stegoarius Skua.
Look, your buddy is over there. Why don't you go and talk to him, okay?
He pretends not to hear you, concentrating on the bird instead.
No, I'm not the bartender. I'm the cafeteria manager.
He's very animated all of a sudden. This seems like a touchy subject.
I have 3 cafeterias to manage. 3. Sylvie tends the bar here, not me. I'm only standing in. She just, you know...
His eyes dart from left to right. This man isn't lying, but he is hiding something.
So now you're a cop. Oh, forget it.
The theme on that pinball machine is a standard royalist theme, used on everything from pinball cabinets to full-flavor cigarettes. Clinging to a picture book version of the past century, waiting for the king to come back and cast out all the profiteers and homosexuals. Basically, imagine a yellow plastic crown with a liquor brand emblazoned on it. The sentiment is called anti-centennial nostalgia, pining for a time before the turn of the century. It's common even now, after 50 years.
Hello, sweetie. You shouldn't keep your colleague waiting.
A bespectacled man in an orange bomber jacket is tapping his foot on the floor. Looks like he's waiting for someone. You. As you approach, he narrows his eyes and extends his hand in greeting. On the sleeve of his bomber jacket, as well as on its back, are the same enigmatic white rectangles as on your blazer.
Hello, I'm Kim Kitsuragi, Lieutenant, Precinct 57. You must be from the 41st.
You realize he's waiting for your name. Concentration makes you squint your eyes. Your name should be deep gold and orange, like a forest fire looming on the horizon, but mixed with the stench of liquor rising from your breath. You're 2 steps closer to it, but there are still many to go.
Okay then. It looks like we had a little scheduling error on Sunday. Saturday too, actually. Have you had time to talk to the manager here?
What he means is, he has been trying to meet up with you for 2 days, but you have been otherwise occupied.
Then we should ask him for a rundown of the area. Get me up to speed. I understand the scene is out back, right? It also wouldn't hurt to assure him the police are finally here. In full force, I mean. Have you mapped out the initial interviews? At the 57th, we like to prepare an initial list of persons of interest, and then just skim the surface. Prepare the field, get to know the players. You don't do that? Maybe it's not an inter-district practice. Okay, we'll have time for that after we take a look at the coroner's case. Have you removed the dead body from the tree? Mm-hmm. So, the body is still in the tree, where it has been hanging for 7 days straight. We should go there as soon as we are done talking to the owner. I can see you drank last night and the night before, and that you are still drunk now. But I have seen officers go through worse. Much worse. If you need something for your headache, there is a general store nearby. But as I said, the dead body should be our #1 concern. I was sent here to meet a detective from Precinct 41. You have the insignia of the Citizens Militia on your sleeve and on your back. I suppose you could be impersonating him. You could have gotten the insignia from the black market or forged it. But for now, I'm going to set those possibilities aside. I'm not from the Inspectorate General.
Inspectorate General means internal affairs. What he's saying is he's not from the Rat Squad and isn't supposed to suspect such things.
No need for derogatory terms. They're only doing their job. Yes. They're not just white rectangles. They bear a halogen watermark with the letters RCM and a pattern resembling the street grid of Revachol West. I would ask you to step into the headlights of my motor carriage, but again, it's none of my concern. I just need you to do your job. You mean you don't have a badge? Losing your identification card is a serious matter. My vehicle has a shortwave. You can use it to report your badge missing. I would advise you to locate it as quickly as possible. But getting the body down should still take precedence. We all feel that way sometimes. There is no such thing as a police officer, I'm afraid. What remains is that there is a dead body in the tree. Someone has to figure out who put it there. If we don't, no one else will.
And then, soon after, dead bodies would be dangling from all the trees.
But first, we have to take it down. Talk to the manager. Then we go out back and take the body down. After you, officer.
Lieutenant Kitsuragi is now in your party. You can talk to him whenever by interacting with him.
The man with the unimpressive beard notices you approaching. He drops the ledger he was holding and turns to the lieutenant.
Mr. Gart, right? You run this place.
Yes.
I am Kim Kitsuragi from Precinct 57. This is an inter-district investigation, so joining me from Precinct 41... Right. Now, I know it took us a while to arrive at the scene. It also took you a while to call us and report the dead body. It was you who placed the call, yes?
No, I only just got here. It was probably Sylvie who called you. She usually works the bar here. I'm only temporarily taking over her duties.
Do you have her number?
As a matter of fact, I do.
This sounds like something you can use to call this Sylvie later.
You said you just got here. From where? Are you a local?
What, of Martinez? No, I live in Jamrock. I only sometimes come here to keep an eye on the place. This is just one of the many, many cafeterias I manage.
But you still know your way around, yes? In case we need directions.
Yes, I know where some things are, but as I said, I don't live here. I just used to work here. And I'm not going to start working here again, if that's what you think.
I didn't imply that. Detective.
He probably means this is where you step in and ask your questions. His face expresses profound doubt in your having this. Ask him about the body's location before asking if he killed him. People give up information in the more innocuous questions, which you can later use in the more sinister ones, not vice versa.
Behind this building, there's a courtyard. They hoisted him up on a tree there. That's easy. See that door there? First you exit through that. Then to your right, you should see a big hole in the fence. A really big one. You can get to the courtyard through there. No need for the keys. The hole is big enough for the Franco-Nigerian cavalry to fit through.
This man means the heavy cavalry of the innocents Franco-Negro, sweeping over the plains and nations of the enemies of mankind. 5th century style. Unified currency and the concept of cool came in their wake. They wore lamella and carried guns. But first and foremost, Franco-Nigerian heavy cavalry was really, really wide. That hole in the fence must be enormous.
Haven't you asked me that already? What is it with you and this woman? She has nothing to do with this. Okay, you got me. She went away because of the dead body out back. And because I asked for her number. That's why Sylvie went away. I hope you appreciate that.
Thank you.
I asked an employee out. She didn't want to come, but felt obliged to. It was a bad idea. Now, what is so goddamn fascinating about that for you? It's got nothing to do with the lynching. Good for you. Was there something else? I'd like to get back to what I was doing. I don't know who killed him. I'm not the police. That's your job.
This is it. He said they hoisted him up on a tree. Who is this they, if he doesn't know?
Oh, people are saying it was the union dock workers, that it was a lynching. The locals, customers, the people who eat here, a lot of dock workers eat here. Sylvie told me everyone knows the dock workers did it.
Did the debarders themselves tell her this, or is it a rumor?
I don't really know. You'll have to ask her. I would suppose it's because they have nothing better to do.
You mean the strike?
Yes, the strike. The man they hanged was a security guard for the harbour company, I hear. A mercenary. The unionistas probably thought they'd send a message. What are you, crazy? Of course I didn't kill him.
The lieutenant turns the page in the little notebook he's been scribbling in.
Let's go.
Not so fast. You owe me 130 real. Oh, excuse me. You owe me 130 real.
The IIR, or Inter-Isolary Real, is the global reserve currency. Whatever part of the world you're in right now, it's safe to assume he means you owe him some money.
Wow, you're a genius. Yes, that's right, money. You owe this establishment 130 real. Let's see. 3 nights at a tariff of 20 real comes to 60 real. Then there's the window you annihilated. The hole in the window was the first thing I saw when I came to work. So don't try to tell me you didn't. That will be 40 real in damages. Another thing you've annihilated is half the bar. You've run a tab of 30 real. Actually more, but we'll round it down to 30 for your hard work maintaining the stability and order of Revachol. That's 60 plus 40 plus 30 equals 130 real. And yes, real is still money. What are you, a philosopher? Money is what grown-up people use to pay for things. Things like this hostel room or 8 bottles of potent blend and 9 packs of Royal Extra. We use it for everything, really. For survival, to pay me. Unless you want to become a hobo. Do you want to become a hobo? There's nowhere else to stay in Martinez and it's a cold spring outside. Money doesn't make you happy, but it lets you be unhappy for a while longer. If you run out of money, you die. It's like that for all of us. Me too. That's why I need you to pay me. I'm not an asshole. Are you serious? From your work? I don't know. You can take bribes, I guess. I'm sorry. I don't think cops can take bribes.
Some do take recompense, but only to survive.
There's a shuffle of nylon as Lieutenant Kitsuragi looks for something in the pockets of his orange bomber.
I'm sorry, but he has to pay. I can't let him stay here any longer if he doesn't. If he doesn't have the money by tonight, then...
Officer, maybe you are better off working this from home for now. You live in Jamrock, right? It's not that far away. Officer, you really need to take this up with your station. I have a shortwave radio in my car. Call them, ask for assistance. We have to get this investigation started now.
Good luck.
By the way, where is home? The address is coming up blank, and this place sure isn't it. But you've been at this hostel cafeteria for only 3 nights. Where were you before? You had to be somewhere. You don't really know, do you? South, maybe. Doesn't sound like somewhere you can stay if you run out of money. You can try. Run some addresses in your head when you get the time. Maybe a street or an apartment will appear.
Yes?
No response. He just arches his brow. He's having trouble processing it, believing it even.
Have you tried concentrating on something other than your personal affairs? Not a fan. It's just the nature of lieutenancy.
The RCM deploys a self-styled structure called the Decomptage as its chain of command. Every lieutenant is responsible for 2 sergeants and 8 officers. That means the average lieutenant has to deal with quite a few personal affairs. Even you know this.
Fine. We should get through this day first. Off hours begin at 9 p.m. If you're still having trouble then, I can give you an orientation. Try work. The case at hand. It can work miracles. Focus on other people's troubles, not your own. That is a relief.
A moment passes. The lieutenant glances at the sports watch on his wrist. The corpse looks at you with bulging white eyes. The face around them does not look human. It's swollen and ready to burst. His lips are fish-like and his tongue like a ball gag in his mouth. You seem to be holding your breath. A cargo belt twists his neck at an unnatural angle. The body below appears stiff. It's letting out an ungodly rot. The smell seeps in even through your clenched nostrils.
Active decay. It's okay to throw up, officer. No one is judging.
He's about to blow! Cock's gonna blow, Kuno!
The smell is repulsive. It pushes in from your mouth, more instant and more familiar than anything you'd expected, more fever than odor. It fills your mind, flushing you from within. You feel a great force ringing from your stomach. Your body curls and pushes it out, burst by burst, until a pool of vomit lies under your feet, and your throat stings from the stomach acid. The smell of Commodore Red rises from the pool. Among it, distilled spirit and bits of shish kebab.
It's okay. Happens to everyone. Keep it. The hangover is clearly making this worse for you. You could use some ammonia to clear your head. If you can handle the headache, some officers use it to deal with cadaverine odor. I can't handle the headache.
It's more likely he can handle the smell, unlike you.
There is Frit nearby, east of the hostel. They usually have a small apothecary. If they don't... There's a greenhouse here, and a gardener with a wheelbarrow on the corner of the whirling in rags. If she works here, she might have something for the smell.
Pretty clever.
Acquiring ammonia will provide a modifier to the white check. Modifiers make checks easier and allow you to retry them.
are several footprints in the mud, left by work boots. Anywhere from 6 to 12 pairs have walked here. Heavy workers' boots with reinforced toes and hobnails all over the yard. Isn't this something an industrial worker would wear? Maybe more than 12. No, 8 pairs of boots have shuffled back and forth in the mud. 1. Standard work boot, steel reinforced toes, number 46. 2. Standard work boot, steel reinforced toes, number 44. 3. Hobnailed work boot, steel reinforced toes, number 43. 4. Standard work boot, number 45 or 46? You don't know. It's a miracle you can tell the prints apart as it is. The cold must have preserved them. 5. Another standard work boot, steel reinforced toes, number 44. 6. An aberration, light as air, even pace, same make of boot, but number 41. Impossible to tell. Could also have been an adolescent. The gait is undeveloped. You're not bad. It's as if the whole world darkens. Everything else has a thin film of unimportance on it, and the tracks burn in the middle of it, in a strange, beautiful way. 7. The glowing outline of a standard work boot, number 46. But the imprints are twice as deep as the others. The weight exceeds 200 kilograms. 8. And yet another standard work boot, number 44. There's an aberration in the pattern of the sole, however. The right sole is smoother, more worn.
How many? I was pretty off then. I counted 20. I never got the hang of it. Hyperopia. Do you see anything out of the ordinary? $200? Could it be the combined weight of 2 people, one carrying the other who's tied up? Let's say a heavily built worker carrying a similarly built, soon-to-be-dead man.
He might be right. 200 kilograms of living weight is unlikely.
Possibly, yes.
But why?
Yes, they could have used a makeshift stretcher or just march him up to the gallows. You have a point there. Anyway, it's something to consider. What else can you see? Interesting. Let's name it the old soul. Someone operating a workbench with a pedal? Like a joiner at the harbor. Or maybe a drummer? No, it's not. Forget I said it. We are not looking for a drummer. Perhaps it could be a driver. A driver would wear out their right shoe before the left. The accelerator is on the right.
He doesn't seem to hear you, looking south toward the traffic jam instead. The machines are silent. The engines are all turned off.
We should keep our eyes open around the traffic jam. See whether anyone strikes out as a potential suspect. Seems prudent, no?
Mm-hmm.
A woman or a kid? Understood. Anything else? A week, maybe? 7 days would fit the time frame provided to us by the caller, who reported the hanging.
It is not impossible.
I pulled last week's forecast for coastal Revachol. 7 days below freezing. The day before, the day of his hanging, was the last warm day.
Correct again. Sub-zero temperatures would preserve the tracks in a good state. The commotion here could have taken place a week ago.
What do I think? A mob of people brought something heavy to the tree. One of them was carrying the victim. They shuffled around, especially under the tree. Then, after hoisting him up, they stood in a semicircle facing his direction. At first glance, this appears to be a lynching.
Indeed, they all stood in a row here and looked at the tree. Yes, everything fits so well. Carried him over, hoisted him up, watched him hang. This is easy. The lieutenant's eyes narrow. He's thinking to himself.
Either way. What else?
There he still is, looking right through you with his... An old call box with a matrix of push buttons lists all the companies in the East Delta Commerce Center. A colorful display of cigarettes and alcohol bottles line the shop wall, inviting you closer. The bottles wink at you in the light. The smokes too glitter in their wrapping. It's like looking into a kind of heaven. Your knees are weak. There, in that dark green glass, all in vain. The great flowing river of warmth, wine, alcohol, beer, alcohol, love, alcohol.
Welcome to Frit. Feel free to look around or something. Everything is out on the shelves.
What's that magazine she's reading?
You mean this? This is Pop Stars. It's got, like, famous people in it. It's not for sale.
Looks like it also has something called Police de la Mode, featured on page 34. This speaks to you.
It's where they rate different outfits famous people wear. It's kind of funny. They're kind of mean. It's about who's the most stylish. No. I don't like it. I hate it.
We are not the fashion police. We're the real police.
I don't know. Frit? A 7 to 11 grocery store? I think they think that the extra T makes it funkier. It doesn't.
The story goes that normal Fritter, with 2 T's, a men's workwear shop in Revachol, was already taken. So when Fritter Retail Inc. grew into a multinational corporation, they had to add an extra letter to avoid trademark infringement. A small cabinet on the wall is filled with various medicine bottles, nasal sprays, and blister packs. They all bear the Saint-Baptiste Pharmaceutics logo. Their logo is the bloodless rose, pure white, untouched by harm.
Just ask me if you need anything from Saint Baptiste. We don't stock prescription meds, but we do have Nosafed, Dramamine, magnesium, and Hypnogamma.
Yes?
You see a set of tire tracks in the brown slush that covers the plaza mosaic. Hard to say. Your vision is blurred and you're having difficulty concentrating thanks to your relentless hangover. The tire tracks were left here by an unknown event that took place some days ago. It's a message, written in the language of burnt rubber. Some of that rubber stuck to the tiles right in front of the whirling in rags. This is point A. The driver started there, and then accelerated straight into the fence, left a hole big enough for the Franco-Nigerian cavalry, according to the cafeteria manager. The driver proceeded to back out of the yard, barely stopping before hitting the adjacent building, before heading south. Must have been in a hurry.
I'm not sure. There are plenty of traffic accidents waiting to happen in Martinez. With the jam right here on the roundabout, I would keep them separate.
You could follow the track south. There seems to be a canal there. See where they went, if you find the time.
You are correct. This is a rather motor carriage-friendly city.
This trash container is locked. The sliding lid has a padlock that says, whirling in rags. The body is downwind from here. Maybe you prefer the smell of garbage to the smell of death.
We could try using a pry bar. There's one in my motor carriage, or we could ask for a key from the manager of the Whirling in Rags. He probably has one.
He might also have information. This is better than the pry bar idea. An inconspicuous pile of the roofing material, Eternite. It's nothing. Someone just left some roofing material slanted against an old shack. Glad you asked. When junior researcher Olari Tal invented Eternite in the Vartna Polytechnic Institute some 30-odd years ago, he thought it would last forever. Hence the name, Eternite. Sadly, the only lasting thing turned out to be the material's highly carcinogenic effect. Because it's nice and orderly, well-laid palettes, easy on the eyes, rhythmic pattern, calms your mind. Mammals look.
Kuno's got this!
If there ever was such a thing as an ugly kid, then this is it. He's almost exquisite in his ugliness, like a grip.
Oh yeah, nappa comfy, Kuno!
Can't talk, pig! Shit's coming up strong! Throwing rocks!
Shit coming up strong. That sounds good. Joyous. You should hang out with this kid and see what that juicy shit is all about. I mean drugs. The kid's on drugs.
Yeah, Kuno! Ride the lightning, Kuno!
Kuno's riding it, see?
The rake, Kuno! You should throw the rake at him, Kuno!
The fuck does Kuno know what a rake is? Kuno's not a gardener. The fuck are you talking about?
He's calling us Kuno! He says we're fucking each other!
We shouldn't do anything. I don't tempt such forces. You will see.
The language these kids are using, pure unfettered id. There will be no reasoning with those creatures.
Alright, entertain the Kuno. Show me what you got. What you got there? What you got, huh? Show me what you got.
The kid moves his hands like a basketball player dribbling fast.
Kuno's Kuno, pig?
It's always Kuno, never I. Clearly the kid's using the third-person perspective as a shield.
Kuno doesn't do that smart shit. Don't throw that bullshit at Kuno. Kuno knows you're lying. Trying to get Kuno hooked on the book.
Watch out, Kuno! He's trying to fiddle you! He's gonna put his hands on you! Help! Pig's got Kuno! Help! Rape!
Help! He's got the Kuno, help!
Everyone can hear. You need to get the hell out of here before.
Yeah? Get out of here before the Kuno beats the shit out of you.
Yeah, that's right. Drag your fat ass out of here, fat boy, before Kuno fucks you.
Bye! Got fucked by the Kuno. We alright? You wanna get fucked again? Come back.
There he still is, looking right through you with his white eyes. The body below is entirely dedicated to that corpse smell. Emitting it is all it does now. A small cabinet on the wall is filled with various medicine bottles, nasal sprays, and blister packs. They all bear the Saint Baptiste Pharmaceutics logo.
Yeah, there's like an ampule somewhere.
The tear machine stands in the corner. A sign says, 1 bottle equals 10 cents. The tear machine stands in the corner. A sign says, 1 bottle equals 10 cents. Your bottles clunk into the machine, and the money appears with a satisfying jingle. You're a richer man now. A small cabinet on the wall is filled with various
Okay, don't, like, overdo it or something.
There he still is, looking right through you with his white eyes. The body below is entirely dedicated to that corpse smell. Emitting it is all it does now. The ammonia only makes it worse. The combination forces tears out of your ducts. You manage to keep it in once. The second time, not so much. When the vomiting is done, your cheeks are wet with tears.
Are you okay, officer? You're facing tough odds here. It's aggravated further by alcohol withdrawal. I've seen captains puke their guts out. It never gets easier. You never get used to the smell. Every Monday is cadaver day. Throw up, investigate. Throw up, initial autopsy. Throw up, bag it. Then drive to the station. Maybe throw up on the way there if you didn't bag the thing tight enough. I think I've lost my sense of smell.
A white lie.
Not being hungover helps too. No, this is a two-man assignment because it needs 2 officers to complete. I need your help. You need to get your shit together. We should go talk to the locals. Find something else to do while the wind changes. It's pretty bad right now.
You've gained a thought. When this dialogue is over, go to your thought cabinet and internalize it for special bonuses and effects.
Give it half an hour. Get yourself together. Then come back and have another go. Yes? Me? I don't see how my life is pertinent to the investigation. That's a fair point. All right, for the good of the investigation, what do you want to know? That's because I'm half Seolite, or quarter. My father's father was from Seoul. So was my grandmother, but from my mother's side. It's not an interesting topic. It's a part of the world, officer. A geopolitical entity and a geographic division. I told you it wouldn't be interesting.
Seoul is a protectionist, isolationist, pan-Isolari state west of the Insulindian Isola. Actually, it's quite interesting. Some would even say mysterious.
You're barking up the wrong tree. I don't speak a word of Seolite. I've never met either one of my grandparents, and I've never been to Seoul. I'm a regular Revacholier.
A point of pride to him.
That's correct.
You feel a slight urge to put the lieutenant down for this. But you can't quite muster enough testosterone.
Are they? They are mostly just cumbersome. What do you mean? I have no idea what you're talking about.
The lieutenant's conceptualization skills must be rather rudimentary.
What? Think? I do most of my work inside my notebook.
The lieutenant produces his small blue notebook and idly thumbs through a few pages. We all have our different mediums. His is written.
No.
The lieutenant nods.
Good. Let's change the subject. What do you want to know? Maybe you can tell me what you do know to help me narrow it down a bit. Then you are not that far behind, actually. Do you want me to brief you? 3 days ago, the RCM Emergencies Desk received a report about a security guard who was found hanged in Martinez. An anonymous caller said there was a dead body behind the Whirling in Rags hostel cafeteria. The cadaver had been there for 4 days. No one had come to investigate. During that time, the victim had been stripped of his belongings. The caller did not identify him, but used the word lynching. There is an ongoing labor dispute between the local dock workers and the logistics company Wild Pines. I was told we should approach the death as part of this dispute. A security guard or worker of some sort hired by Wild Pines. This was just hearsay from Martinez, of course. We need to find out the truth. They didn't identify themselves in any way. The tone was muffled using a device of some sort. The desk could identify neither the caller's age nor sex. There's a strong prejudice against involving the RCM in what's seen as union matters. The dock workers' union is the de facto police in Martinez. Now it appears they've started executing too. We cannot allow that. That's us, the Revachol Citizens Militia. We're the police in this city.
The RCM, or the Revachol Citizen Militia, is the police force you and him are part of. A self-organized peace corps of the occupied city of Revachol. The RCM operates within a legal twilight, yet its authority is rarely questioned. It's super useful to know this.
That's right. No, it's not a particularly mysterious case. The deceased is a security guard for a corporation involved in a labor dispute. It doesn't take a DeLorean polymath to put the pieces together. I just don't see the case getting more mysterious than that. I'm relieved that you agree. Anyhow, let's get back to the case. Was there anything else you wanted to know? I'm afraid you and I are pawns in a pissing competition. You don't know? I assumed you were in on it. It's just stupidity. We shouldn't waste any more time on it. If you want my take, ask me after we've inspected the victim. Was there anything else you wanted to know about the... Good. Excuse me? Detective, if I may be frank, you seem to be in a deranged state. You have trouble remembering things. You've misplaced your badge. I cannot let you act in the name of the RCM without supervision until you've regained control of your faculties. Some you time? This is a police investigation, not a journey of self-discovery. You'll still have your evenings to yourself. Please do. We wouldn't want your regiment to spill over into the investigation.
The lieutenant is pretty sure Self-care is just a euphemism for nihilistic binge drinking.
What do you want to know? You mean like a brief? Do you want me to brief you again? There's no reason to wing anything. If you didn't get the brief, that's okay. I did. 3 days ago, the RCM Emergencies Desk received a report about a security guard who was found hanged in Martinez. An anonymous caller said there was a dead body behind the Whirling in Rags hostel cafeteria. The cadaver had been there for 4 days. No one had come to investigate. During that time, the victim had been stripped of his belongings. The caller did not identify him, but used the word lynching. There is an ongoing... Okay then. Was there anything else you wanted to know? Good.
The pig's getting pretty close to me. Come to snuff my shit out, I think. Looks like it's time for me to go, Kuno. Pig's come to take me in. I'm going away for a long, long time, Kuno. Going away for life.
What's going on there? Fuck are you trying to pull, pig?
Stay away from me, pig! You don't want to see what happens when you corner me.
Before you stands a motor carriage. The bodywork is covered in blue and white livery, bearing the number 57. Vapor emanates from the large engine on the back of the vehicle. It hasn't had time to cool off yet. This must be the infernal machine that tore you from oblivion. The Caprice Kinema motor carriage. In the cabin, you are welcomed by a set of steering levers, a radio microphone on a hook, a pull-out toolbox under the seat, and the soft glow of the fuel preheater gauge. A scent of leatherwork and heavy fuel oils washes over you. A metallic drawer slides out from under the seat and clicks into place. The tools inside are neatly organized.
Take what you need, officer. It's going to be a long case. I'm not protective of my tools, like some men are.
It's robust, weatherproof, and well-made. Police issue, blue. Lets you see things in the dark you would otherwise miss. The pry bar feels nice and cold in your hand, heavier than you'd think. Useful for opening all sorts of doors and lids. The handles are long and sleek. Snap, snap, go the cutters in your hand. You can do good work with these. Cut chains, locks, and ropes, especially belts. The pull-out toolbox slides back into its nest. Preheater gauge casts a warm glow on the steering levers and the radio on its hook. The frequency tableau lights up and the green button labeled Prime Line glows like a feline eye. And then you hear something. The soft purr of electrical kittens, radio waves cast far and wide over the metropolis. A woman's voice greets you through the static.
This is Precinct 57. Hello, Lieutenant. How may I assist you?
Hello, Alice. Please assist our colleague from the 41st Precinct here. I'm putting him on.
Operating the radio is easy. Just be confident. You've probably done it 1,000 times.
This is Officer Alice Demetri, Precinct 57. How may I assist you?
Under the green prime line, a yellow saved button catches your eye. You wonder what the lieutenant's default radio station is.
Of course. What is her number, officer?
Yes, hold on. Her number is 005 1944 298.
Received. Hold on, officer.
Lieutenant Kitsuragi slowly begins to tap a little rhythm with his right foot. Quite a lot of time has passed.
Officer, I have Sylvie Malaika on the line for you. Yes, hello? Oh, right. Hello, officer. What can I do for you? No, not me. No, sorry. I don't. Not a lot of people have phones around here. Copper thieves take the wires. People don't have the money to have the cables put in again. They use the Union's phone, or the one on the coast.
So the Union has a phone, and there's one further down the coast. Got it.
It was someone else. We'll find them sooner or later, officer. It just might take a while.
What? Of course it bothered me. But I thought the Union already knew about the corpse. No one calls the police. The Union would get angry. You know, what the Union says goes. People listen to them and they take care of their own, which is like everyone here.
Legally, no. In reality, yes. Martinez is de facto policed by the Dock Workers Union.
I didn't want to get in trouble with the others.
Push her further. Show her the error of her ways.
The other people who live around here. Local people, I didn't want trouble. You don't live here. You don't understand. Squealing is frowned upon here. Everything is dealt with, well, by the Union, internally. Please, I just didn't want any trouble. I didn't know I had to report it. I thought someone would take him down eventually.
You can almost hear the girl getting smaller on the other end of the line until she almost drowns in static.
Okay. You mean, why did I leave the bar? Honestly, I'm not really comfortable discussing it with you, sir.
Why not?
What? No, why would you even think that? Please, don't bring Gar into this. It's none of your business.
God, why can't you just mind your own business? she mutters.
I already said I don't want to talk about this. You're messing everything up again. You mean, why did I leave the bar?
Why not?
Let's just say I left because I needed to get away from someone. You know whom? Maybe, I don't know. I just know I have to take some time off right now. You mean, why did...
Why not?
You know whom? What? No, why would you even think that? Please, don't bring Gar into this.
God, why can't you just mind your own business?
I already said I don't want to talk about this. You're messing everything up again. I do hope so. Please, don't call me again. Bye.
You hear the call breaking up on the other end of the radio, and then the already familiar voice.
Anything else I can help you with, officer? Just a second, officer.
10-2, 10-5. This is 41st. Come in. Over.
The man uses relay code. You've got this. You're a cop, and cops know relay code.
10-4, message received. 10-5, relay message. What's your status? Over. 10-18, state your message, sir. 10-9, over. 10-4, message received. This is a very serious situation. I need to 10-22 the captain. Over.
Is it him? What does he want?
Says he lost his badge and needs to report it.
He what? He lost his badge?
This is Communication Officer Jules Pidieu, sir. Over. You mean your partner? Over.
What is he saying?
He's asking who you are.
I'm his goddamn partner.
It's your partner, Satellite Officer Wittmar, sir. Over.
Did he lose his memory along with his fucking badge?
Who lost his badge?
Dick fucking Mullen. Who do you think?
It's Officer Dick Mullen from the bestseller Dick Mullen and the Lost Identity.
Dick Mullen is not your name. It's the name of a fictional detective who would not lose his badge. Defend yourself. Immediately. They're laughing at you.
He says this has probably happened to other policemen before him and laughs sarcastically.
Oh goddamn it! Is he fucking kidding? The whole station's gonna be dicked for this.
Satellite Officer Wittmar is wondering if you might be joking and adds that this tarnishes the reputation of the entire station. Over.
Mullen dicked us.
He's asking you to stop, says this is serious.
Of course it's serious. He lost his fucking badge.
Satellite Officer Wittmar concurs, losing your badge is serious. Over. 10-4, I hear you, officer. I'm just going to make a note here that you are in pursuit of your misplaced badge. Over.
Fuck me. Mac, come here. You've got to hear this. Dick Mullen lost his badge.
What's going on?
Super Cop here lost his badge.
He lost his what now? His badge. He lost his goddamn fucking badge.
10-9, come again. I didn't get that. Over.
New heights even for Captain Sober.
Ask him. Ask him if he's lost his gun too.
Sergeant Orson wants to know if you lost your gun too.
Check your pockets. Check your... Holy fuck. You don't know where it is, do you? No. It's gone. It's not fucking on you.
10-9, come in, officer. Did you get my question? We were wondering about your gun. Over.
Lying over the phone? It's easy. Just say it like it's the truth. And then it becomes it.
He says he didn't.
Thank God for that. That would have been a nightmare. I don't even want to imagine the poor prick who has to relay that kind of news to the captain. Losing his badge is bad enough. Tell him to find it, and fast. We can't have some gangbanger running around with it.
We're all glad to hear you've not lost your gun, officer. You need further assistance? Over. Roger that. 10-10. Over and out.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you?
As always, it's DJ Mesh and Felicio, and you're listening to Street Freaks FM, bringing you the hottest, the nastiest, the most vulgar.
A flock of seagulls takes off nearby, startled by the roaring radio. Right away, the lieutenant reaches into the cabin and turns off the radio. He's not looking at you as he says,
Someone must have been messing with the radio, or maybe picked up a random frequency. You wanted a prime line, right? Oh, is that what it was called?
Go for it. Turn the radio back on while it's still on the Speed Freaks FM.
Souped up motor carriage for one bad mama's boy, for the heavier foot and the freakier.
God damn it! Look, it helps me to stay alert on long nights, okay? It's a method. I'm not some kind of speed freak or... You would be too if you had this motor carriage. But seriously, let's quit joking around, alright? We have a case to investigate.
This is Precinct 57. Can I connect you to someone? 57's over and out.
In the cabin, you see a set of steering levers, a radio on a hook, a pull-out toolbox, and the soft glow of the fuel preheater gauge. As you tap on the gauge, the indicator pin jerks as if startled. It's in the large orange sector, indicating the engine is warm. Next to the gauge is a red switch labeled heat.
There's no use pressing the heat button. It won't start without the ignition key.
Translation: we're not going anywhere right now. The white suede feels luxurious under the touch, and the metal clutch handle so very familiar in your palm. Volumetric ship compressor. Bizarre scientific news from Revachol West today, where a police officer's shit has been observed at a pressure of around 495 gigadecimals. These metallic hydrogen levels of shit togetherness were thought to exist only at the center of collapsing stars, not law officials. It remains to be seen how long the shit singularity lasts. There he still is, looking right through you with his white eyes. The body below is in ha. Again, the corpse laughs at you, pus dripping from its mouth. You will never be able to hold it in. It's always too much. Every time it happens, it gets worse and worse. There's nothing more to throw up now. All that's left is crying and convulsing dryly at the same time.
I'm at a loss as well. I could swear your shit was together, detective.
Sometimes even that is not enough. Life is unfair.
Officer, you just need to be stronger. Learn to keep it in long enough for us to work. There's nothing else to do.
You can open this white check again by going to your character sheet and spending a skill point to upgrade your endurance. Gain new skill points by exploring and completing side tasks.
Maybe it's okay if you don't make it today. The dead man isn't going anywhere, and there's always other things to do. An inconspicuous pile of the root. That sugary black rum stain on the counter makes you teary-eyed with joy. It's almost touching how syrupy and sticky it is. How long have you been up already? Oh, excuse me. Do you have something better to do than lust for sweet syrupy rum and lemonade? With a twist of lemon? Maybe lime. Maybe who cares? Just rum. A colorful piece of plastic is dangling from his carabiner. Makes your fingers itch. On the counter, rolled out of his open hand, you see a blister pack of headache medicine. The man does not mind. You probably need them more than he does.
You've just picked up some magnesium. This item is stored in the bottom left corner of the screen above your character portrait. Use magnesium to heal your morale if you have morale damage.
It's a dock worker's ID, doubling as a shift card and a job permit. A young, able-bodied man stares back at you from the photo. Santiago S. John. You fumble with the spring-loaded gate of the carabiner, but to no avail. The dangling items refuse to come loose. They just jingle in an ever louder manner. Like fucking sleigh bells. What are you doing? You're gonna get caught.
Stop finger-fucking him, officer! I'm responsible for these oafs and their stuff. Even Sleepy there. Yeah, sure. I don't care. Just don't finger-bang his stuff, okay?
To be honest, he's correct. Police officers generally don't go around appropriating possessions from people. Let's go.
It was just an idea. Come on, relax everyone. It didn't turn out well. Doesn't mean it was a bad idea, or that you shouldn't appropriate stuff.
Hello, sweetie.
Wait, who's Sweetie?
Why, you are, officer. You're a handsome man, officer, with your mustache and your chiseled jaw and that silly dimple on your chin. You must forgive me. I'm getting so scatterbrained. I completely forgot to introduce myself. I'm Lena. My husband Morel and I are staying with our friend Gary just down the street, but I come here for tea when they're away.
This Lena is wacky enough for the motley crew. Hire her on the spot.
Yes, officer. You look rather dazed. Like a stunned fox. But surely things can't be that bad. You know where we are, right? That's right. And where is the Whirling in Rags cafeteria itself located? Yes, indeed. We are in the fine city of Revachol. Yes, great. See? We're getting somewhere. What else do you know about our city of splendor? Tattered as she may be. How would I even begin to tell you? Revachol is the most beautiful city in the world. We're fortunate to be here, you and I. I haven't seen very many other cities personally, but everyone says so. Revachol is a rare jewel. This city used to rule the world, though it has seen better days. Speaking of history, you know what year it is, yes? That's right, dear. How splendid. Here, take this pen. Knowledge should always be rewarded.
Her relief is palpable. She was getting pretty worried about you there, but now she relaxes her shoulders.
I can tell that this is taxing for you, so I'll just ask one more question. What regime are we living under? What mode of government? Oh, no. Nothing like that, dear. Revachol is a zone of control, led by an alliance of foreign powers called the Coalition. We have almost no government of our own, and certainly not one who's horseback. Oh, dear. This is troubling. You really ought to know that, being one yourself. There aren't any cops in Revachol, not in the traditional sense. The status of law enforcement has been a complicated matter since the revolution. But we should stop for today, sweetie. You look like you need a break. Besides, I'm not the best person to explain the big things to anyone.
She's scared now. She's realized you really are brain damaged.
You didn't do too well, dear. You really only knew what year it is. It does look like you're having trouble remembering things. History and places. Reality, in a word. It's very odd.
A sigh. The lieutenant buries his nose in his notebook.
But maybe a fresh set of eyes is what the world needs. And while I'm no doctor, such bouts of amnesia are often temporary, so I wouldn't worry too much. A defeat, I'm afraid. The people of this archipelago tried to build something new, something different. The rest of the world didn't like it, so they came and ended it. This was 42 years ago. It has something to do with everything. I really don't know how to explain it better. Someone more educated in sweeping matters. Maybe you should ask.
No, I'm not an encyclopedia. I won't be a guide either. I'm a detective.
Of course. Then I don't know. Someone rich, maybe? Wealthy people are educated. Though I don't know where you would find a wealthy person in Martinez.
That's a good point. This doesn't look like Rich Central.
Yes, dear. I'm a paraplegic.
A paraplegic is someone with limited or no ability to use the lower half of their body. Paraplegia is caused by spinal cord injuries, like falling from a great height, or a grenade explosion.
No, dear. I'm not quite that old, although I was injured in the line of duty. Nothing so glamorous, dear. Though when I was young, I dreamt of planting the Revacholian flag on some figurative peak. I was a training and development manager at a rapidly expanding mail-order shoe company. You'd think it would be a safe job, but I had to be everywhere, and, well, once I happened to be under some faulty scaffolding. I was lucky. This was almost 20 years ago, and I was compensated exceptionally well. One can only dream of such payoffs nowadays. That's quite all right. I'm used to people asking questions. I know they're thinking about it anyway. Of course, dear. Good luck with your case.
Can I help you? Mine? No, it belongs to the Whirling in Rags.
Thank you for clearing that up. Why do you keep the container locked?
Why? To keep the hobos and drunks out. That's why. And the neighbors too. They put their trash there and they don't pay for the garbage company.
I thought as much. And are you the only party with access to the trash container?
Well, yes. Us and the garbage disposal company.
It seems a little callous, doesn't it? Something stirs in you. Prod at him and find out.
Callous? What are you, Kras Mazov? Almost all establishments in Revachol keep their trash locked. The Whirling in Rags is not special in that regard.
Krasmazov, nom de guerre, was an economist and a historical materialist. He was a leading figure on the Grad side of the Centennial Revolution, where he headed the 9-day government. Mazov is considered the father of scientific communism. Mazovia, he killed himself.
No one was implying you were, officer. Where were we?
What do you need them for?
It concerns the case. Please cooperate.
Just bring them back once you're done, please. What thing? What?
By the way, you should come back to this thing-based questionnaire if you see anything interesting in the Whirling later. There they both are. Two identical shoes, both copiously green and indiscriminately snakeskin, reunited on your feet, like two baby crocodiles. It's pretty clear a normal cop is not what you are. Good, they're balanced, comfy. Feels like the only good thing about you right now, truth be told. This trash container is locked. The sliding lid has a padlock that says, whirling in rags. With a well-oiled crack, the lock pops open. It should now be possible to simply raise the lid. The smell of rotten food rises to greet you. You see soggy cartons, dirty rags, and organic waste.
We're just in time. This hasn't been emptied for over a week.
You see milk and egg rest with one broken egg in it. Some pasta wrapper. Picking up the soggy packages somehow feels familiar. You've done this before. The movements are recorded in your elbows, the methodology in your fingers. You're used to this. No, searching for evidence in the trash. Among the threadbare kitchen towels, something catches your eye. A pair of denim trousers. As the legs of the slime-covered jeans begin to unspool from the garbage, a rank corpse smell fills the air.
The victim's clothes? Cadaverine odor is faint. If these belong to the deceased, they were removed when he was still in the early stages of decay. Drop them in here, officer. Guitar-marked blue jeans. Pockets empty. Or emptied. He wore them with a belt, too, a white belt. The loops appear stretched, but the belt is missing. That's it. Do you see anything else in there? I have another bag here.
Something slimy catches your eye. A drab, long-sleeved shirt, olive-colored, appears from the food waste, dripping with pus.
This is a military-type overgarment. No label or serial number. This is the kind of rib-knit shirt that's worn over light armor to conceal it in an urban scenario. Anything more?
The rest of the rags are just kitchen variety waste. A yellow old mug that catches your eye. But other than that...
All right, we should go to Gart again and ask if he knows who put the clothes in the trash. It could be as simple as someone from the hostel cleaning the yard. Or that one. I'd advise against confronting that force.
The fuck's he on about, kids? You hear that, Kuno? He thinks you're an infant or something.
See?
The lieutenant nods, then looks back into the trash container. You pick out a broken mug with an oddly racist depiction of the yellow man frolicking in saffron. Only in its social sensibility.
You've acquired an interactable item. Investigate this item further by going to the Interact tab in your inventory.
It's just organic waste, cold and slimy on your hands. Apple and potato peels, mostly. Unidentified sludge, and the occasional chicken bone thrown in for good measure. But hey, what's this? A blue piece of plastic sticks out from the apple peels. It's shiny. Looks like the corner of something. Something larger. A clipboard. A blue plastic clipboard with moist papers hanging from it. They look badly damaged, but you can still make out forms and notes, written in a man's handwriting.
Officer, is that your paperwork? Yes, it is. Look. This plastic has the RCM street grid on it. You've even got an autopsy form. If you don't mind me asking, how did this get in the trash? Boring. Try dangerous. You should do a thorough inventory of that. Be sure some has not fallen into the hands of the RCM's enemies, organized crime or worse. Official notes sometimes contain informants' names, even undercover operatives. It would also not hurt to start taking notes on the case. Now, tell me what your eagle eyes see. Or are we finished?
Some items, such as the ledger you found, are interactable. Go to your inventory and select the Interact tab to read your paperwork.
The container sounds a muffled gong.
That's one thing off the list. I think we got it all.
Fuck does Kuno care? Yeah, like a fucking volcano. Yeah. Fucking pathetic.
You're lucky you didn't die there.
Yeah. Kuno's got some advice for you. What are you? Like 80, right? Maybe you should stop embarrassing yourself in front of a fucking kid.
Perhaps you could compress this negative energy and turn it into some sort of a Kuno-fied non-vomiter. Don't ask questions. Roll with it. It will work. I promise. That's right. Turn your weaknesses into conceptual strengths. Try it again now.
Right, Pig. This is where Kuno plays with his little wooden choo-choo. What do you want with it? Yeah, Kuno doesn't know shit about that. That shit is beneath Kuno. Listen. Kuno doesn't care about this small-time shit. Just listen. Kuno saw what you did there, dumpster diving. Sad shit. Kuno could hook you up with some sweet rags. Shit like Kuno's wearing. Your size, good price. 500 real.
You'd have to be blind not to notice the giant white letters FALN running down his trouser leg.
Pig, these are found modulars. Liquid fit, performance crotch, urban survival shit. Made in Mirova by scientists. Pants scientists. Believe it, you need this shit.
These could drastically improve your chances of survival in the urban wilderness. Coach Physical Instrument endorses these pants. They are tartan ready. They will also make you into an idiot.
Look, Kuno ain't seen shit lying around, except for that up there. Now you want performance gear or not, Grandpa?
The lieutenant remains silent, but his expression couldn't say, "I told you so," any louder.
Piggo. Shit's rolling.
Don't do business with the pig, Kuno. He's gonna steal all your money, Kuno.
As you can see, Kuno and C don't trust you. Can't do business without trust. Look at that fucking shit! You're trying to get Kuno killed! Fuck does Kuno know? Kuno's not a fucking acrobat.
The lieutenant takes a quick note in his notebook.
It's a trap, Kuno! Don't climb it, Kuno!
Dunno. Kiptas Gardener used to work there.
Kipt is a pejorative term used to describe people of South Seminese or Areopagite descent. It used to be a common first name among the Areopagites of Ilmara. Not so much anymore.
Yeah, that's what Kuno said. She couldn't handle the heat, so she took off. Kuno can take it. Shit's nothing to Kuno. Look, Kuno doesn't explain shit. Kuno just says shit.
Yeah, her. What was she doing in the greenhouse in March anyway? What kind of gardening is done in March? Fish is sometimes used to fertilize the soil a few weeks before planting something. Maybe she was preparing the garden beds. Yes, it seems suspicious. You don't like things being like that. Suspicious.
That's just some shit roofing gimps left behind, lazy dinks.
He's hiding something.
Pig, if Kuno was hiding something, it would be hidden.
But it is not hidden, is it, sire? You picked up on it. You should examine the pile of roofing material again.
The fuck? A mug in the trash? Is this about the fucking clothes again? Yeah, Kuno sees where this is going. Kuno's got that fast brain. You saying you pigs are after the mug fucker 'cause he's the clothes fucker?
I can't hear you, Kuno. Speak louder, Kuno.
Shit, that's tense. Someone's going to the beat-down basement, huh? Mug guy gonna get tied to the radiator. Kuno doesn't know who put that shit in there. And if he did, he wouldn't squeal. But if you find out, maybe you can...
Tell the Kuno who it was. He's curious. He likes putting two and two together here.
Stop turning into a pig, Kuno. They're trying to get you hooked on the snitching. Get away from my Kuno.
Yeah, get your bacon shit away. Kuno doesn't like to be seen with the popo. Get your shit done and out of Kuno's face. Yeah, whatever. Kuno doesn't give a shit. Shitload, pig. What's your question?
Don't tell the pig shit, Kuno.
This is where you quickly ask him questions. Real cop questions. Like a cop.
Kuno's fuck gimp. Kuno uses the fuck gimp for target practice.
He's trying to hide the fact that he doesn't know.
Kuno knows what you meant. Kuno's not a snitch, that's all. Trying to make Kuno sing into the popo phone. Probably climbed. Kuno was busy down the road when that shit went down. You heard Kuno. Kuno wasn't even in Martinez. Kuno wasn't in Revachol. Kuno wasn't regional. I don't know. Some fucking... Mesk or I don't know. Some other place. Night City.
There is no Night City anywhere. That sounds like the name of a city in some pulp science fiction novel.
Kuno gives this info out on a need-to-know basis, and you don't need to know. Kuno didn't smoke the gimp if that's what you meant.
Thanks, Kuno. That's one name you can now cross off the list.
Just a couple of pigs sniffing around in the dirt. That seems pretty fucking suspicious to Kuno.
Yeah, you tell the faggoty, Kuno.
You're testing Kuno's patience here.
Get lost,
Yeah? The kingdom of Kuno? Yeah, whatever. Kuno doesn't give a shit. Kuno doesn't fucking care.
An inconspicuous pile of the roofing material, Eternite. Because there's a secret door hidden behind the panels of Eternite. That's why they're too orderly. There it is. You see a shabby little door.
What is this then? A tool shed? Let's investigate.
Be still, my beating heart. It's amphetamine. Sweet amphetamine. The lieutenant isn't studying the powder in the mirror. He's studying you. There's a good vague way to ask where he stands on drug use. Professionally, I mean.
Perhaps not. This is below our pay grade, detective. However, see that ladder there? It's probably another way into the industrial harbor, no? A secret path the local kids use.
Looks like someone left his tarpaulin cloak hanging on the railing here. When the wind ruffles the cloak, you can most definitely see a white rectangle on its back.
Yes, it's probably yours. It bears the RCM insignia, and you have a habit of being careless with your equipment. You could probably make the jump. You look like you've done some track and field in your day. What are we doing? We're awfully close to breaking into the industrial harbor. They're bound to have information for us. I thought that was our intention. Or it could be that we are just exploring. The cloak? I do think it's yours, yes. As to whether you should go for it? Well, it doesn't seem too dangerous. 2 meter stops. Whenever you're ready to do it, I'll be right behind you.
The cloak looks like a bag of goodies floating in the wind. Who knows what its pockets may hide? The wind is aggressive up here. The lieutenant looks at the enormous crane towering in the distance over the container yard. That machine is a Kvalsund 1020 HK.
Is it? Kvalsund makes a lot of heavy equipment, but this is phenomenal, even for them. But I digress. We were focusing on your cloak here.
It's just a racist mug. What's there to read here? Not much. Oh boy, here we go. What are you going to say about a broken, tossed away mug that you dug out of the garbage? So again, you dug it out of the trash. Why? It wasn't going to offend anyone there. Why don't you just get back to your case? It's the ledger you found in the trash. A pitiful cabbage of white and yellow papers hanging from plastic board, barely held together by a metal clip. This sad display is made complete by the faint smell of urinal cleaner. There's a piece of toilet paper, or is it cleaning tissue? No, it's toilet paper, desperately sticking to the back of the blue plastic clipboard. It's a metaphor for you. Thank you, waterlogged ledger, for spelling it out for us. An aluminium block runs the width of the board, biting down on the paperwork. Its crocodile teeth are the only thing keeping the papers together. A regular pencil, the tip worn down to nothing, has been attached to the clip. The surface is interrupted by a silvery sticker. It's rectangular, sparkling with iridescence. You don't know how you didn't notice it before. Looks like an official mark, made to be low visibility outside the right circumstances. It is similar to the RCM watermark on your blazer the lieutenant mentioned. Didn't he say something about the headlights of his motor carriage? That you can read these there?
What? Yes, halogen watermark used for adding information to RCM property. It depends. Aside from an anti-counterfeiting stamp, mine has my station number and address. The information varies by date of issue.
Maybe yours will have how many cases you've solved.
Any capable light with the right wavelength will do. Yes, RCM vehicles have had lights tuned especially to reveal halogen watermarks.
This means you can read the watermarks if you just turn the lights on.
Okay.
While a bunch of sodden papers sag from the clipboard in your hand, it's a sorry sight. The acidic stench of rotting food is rubbed off on the cellulose. It now forms the base of the experience. This base surrounded by a faint air of spoiled meat, the stuff of death itself, and then sprinkled liberally with the citrus zest of toilet cleaner. You know, like the bits they put into public piss bowls, probably called Fermi Discrete, or Axel, or something. At some point in its journey, the ledger has seen the inside of a public toilet. Remember when I said the smell of the upstairs bathroom was so rank they should have sent a poet to describe it? Why, yes it is, among many other things. This cleaning tablet is used by the whirling in rags. Perhaps that's where the ledger was dropped in the toilet. Why, it's just toilet paper sticking to the back of the plastic clipboard. You can take it off if you want. Still wet, the toilet paper peels off the plastic easily. All you have to do is shake it off with your finger and voila, the ledger now looks marginally better. They're not exactly white. They're yellowed in patches by sunlight and alcohol and covered in dense blue handwriting. Ink escapes into watercolor patterns, reaching its tendrils across entire pages. The paper itself is checkered with faint red lines forming short paragraphs. Once in a while, there's a red stamp that exclaims, "Case files commit to paper." The case files themselves are plenty. You count more than 100 sodden, crumpled up, earmarked pages falling apart in your hands. They appear to be sufficiently organized and extremely dense, if mostly illegible. Work, strife, poverty, the Jamrock Quarter. These are handwritten logs of investigations dating back to January 51, this year. The exact number is hard to estimate due to missing pages and an odd naming convention. But there are at least 20, maybe 30 cases undertaken, not completed, mind you. It's the middle of March. You have attempted 2 cases a week on average. What do you mean? Is that all? The notebook is annual. It says 51 on what remains of its cover. A molten strap of cardboard. Everything prior to this must have belonged to a previous volume. In short, there was more. Yes, it appears you employ a, shall we say, robust yet literary system. Each investigation has its case number written on the margins. Yet, still more tellingly, most are accompanied by a name, a title, one might say even. One that draws inspiration from snoop fiction and vespertine cop show staples. Yes, all caps. One is called The Next World Mural. Another, The Square Bullet Hole Murders. Another yet, The Unsolvable Case. Others appear more light-hearted. The guys on a couch in an unexpected location, and the murder at the hookah parlor. Even the rare article-free collapsing tenement. Murder features prominently throughout. It's going to take an effort to piece these case files together, but it can be done. Once you're done inspecting them up close. There is, for precisely one more. 15 pages near the end remain untouched by the damage. The checkered grid forms a structure of passages, breaking the case into subtasks to accomplish. Once all the tasks are accomplished, the case is complete. The tasks you've completed flow out of the kind green ape pen in a brash freehand similar to the rest of the letters. The wording comes easily. It's almost robotically simple, a language developed for mental rigor and simplicity. Inspect the victim's body. Interview the cafeteria manager. It's not exactly poetry, but poetry would be out of place. A satisfying slash sounds across the paper. You're done, it seems to say. And you, and you. Things to be done and things already done. The composition of reality. This is an extremely useful tool for a detective of the Citizens Militia. Now all that remains is to name the case.
No, actually. Any ideas? Great. That's great. That's actually what I was thinking too. The Hanged Man. Good, strong name. We have a very good name for the case now. I'm going to start calling it the Hanged Man. It's good we sorted this out. Huh? 2 complex cases to undertake is a lot, yes. You really have to push yourself. I would not suggest it, lest you start making mistakes. 2? That's a lot. I didn't mean to say you are making mistakes, by the way. That was presumptuous of me. It's okay. We all make mistakes.
Like a fan of gills, the checkered papers dry in your hand. The handwriting is extremely dense, if mostly illegible.
Yes, how very childish of you. In your and my defense, almost everyone in the RCM uses the titular system, in addition to the official alphanumeric. It's a holdover from the early days of the RCM, right after the revolution, when the organization had little idea how to do things. It persists in an unofficial capacity. Officers use these titles to refer to their work among themselves. Again, in your defense, I seem to have named one, the man with the hole in his head. That was a real person. His death was real. Still, I named it that, to amuse myself. I pray his loved ones never find out. Rail spiked through the head. He died. It was a workplace accident.
You don't exactly close them, so much as distance yourself from the smelly papers. They're a little further from your nose now. Yes, you can piece them together using the alphanumeric code on the margin. It always begins with HDB 41, then date of initialization and time of arrival on the scene, followed by the title. For example, HDB 41120111700, the next world mural. Why yes, your precinct number is 41. Every last alphanumeric in the files begins with it, and these are your case files. It's safe to say HDB are your initials. That is improbable. It takes about half an hour to piece one together using the system you've devised. Where do you want to start? Murder. Tum 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 at the hookah parlor was a case originally assigned to an officer called Joseph Mills, who is now dead, of circumstances completely unconnected to murder at the hookah parlor. Beaten to death by a throng of Villalobos gang members when him and his partner JM, only initials mentioned, answered a call one night. It's a sad story, and it isn't really represented in your case files. Stop stalling and get to the murder at the hookah parlor. Joseph Mills was on this case that he just couldn't solve, was doing it solo, said it was a real nutcracker, a real brain twister, was on it for, like, a month. The captain got impatient. Shit or get off the pot, Mills. Mills didn't get off the pot. Not yet. He kept at it for a couple of weeks more, racking his brains, running with every theory, as outlandish as they seemed. Still couldn't solve the murder at the hookah parlor. Tough case, he said. Toughest he's ever had. No, he was awful. Awful sense of humor, too. The worst jokes you've ever heard. Really rapey. Still, he'd been on it for months now. Said it was the final case. Said it was uncrackable. That murderer vanished into thin air. That goddamn hookah parlor was all he talked about. Okay, so the case is handed to you because Mills isn't getting anywhere, and you look into it. Here's the setup. A young man is found dead in a hookah parlor. You know, those places where you go and smoke bubblegum-flavored vapor all day. No, it's soot and water vapor. It doesn't do anything. Yeah, really lame. So anyway, young man in his 20s found with his skull busted open, right on the floor of the hookah parlor, in the middle of the day. No one else is in there. Only client that day. In perfect health, too. Some kind of movie producer. No one enters. No one exits. He's just sucking on his watermelon hookah all morning, all noon, like he usually does. He's a regular. No calls, nothing. Just sucking on the hookah until 15:45. Then bam, he's dead on the floor with his skull busted open, blood everywhere. What happened? How can it be? Mills has no idea. Invisible assassin, movie deal gone sour. Girl at the counter did it. Nothing fits. Eerie. Man just dropped dead. So you go to the parlor. You see cushions around the table. Tables low, heavy, really sharp edge. See? You can't even read the thing without solving it. Yeah, it was that. Turns out hookah does do something. It turns off your brain's oxygen supply, and you don't notice it until you get up to go to the bathroom. Yeah, he liked his hookah. Stephen was his name. Smoking hookah. Didn't you hear? I don't know. Trying to come up with a movie script, maybe. Anyway, that was Murder at the Hookah Parlor. Joseph Mills wasn't a good detective, and about 30 minutes has passed, piecing it together. Next. Not much has changed in the meanwhile. A bunch of sodden papers still sags from the clipboard. In the back, you see thin, translucent copier paper. Some neon yellow, some bright red, all covered in boxes, like marching armies. These look like official forms, waiting to be filled out. Then rip them from the binder and hand them out, according to type of form. 3. The topmost are misconduct fines, the middle ones are station calls, and the bottommost are field autopsy forms. Each is easy enough to make sense of. You don't have to be an intellectual giant to do police work. A monetary penalization ranging from 20 to 250 real. Severe cases allow for 1,000 real, but that requires special paperwork. The details of issuing these fines are spread out over the rest of the fields. But they appear pleasantly vague. These are quite sinister in turn. They give a date and time for the person to appear at the specified precinct police station. Below the call are the criminal charges you risk by not appearing. All in a print so small it could be considered downright cute. A dozen pages of thin copy paper, bright red in color. You see the parameters of a deceased human form waiting to be filled in. Age, sex, condition of internal organs. Yes, all that remains now is to fill those forms and hand them to people. Fines for wrongdoers, interview requests for bad guys, and field autopsies to dead guys. The rest of the stinking cellulose is much worse for wear. Being sandwiched between the board and the rest of the paperwork must have spared the fragile copier paper. It's made of dark blue plastic, hard enough to beat someone to submission with. The edges are rounded, however. The U4 size board feels thick and heavy in your hand. Light shimmers on its wet surface. On the back you see the embossed letters, RCM. Something rattles inside, ever so lightly. Is there a hidden compartment? And something small inside? Light, made of paper or cardboard? Or dried flowers, perhaps? Permeables. It's not hidden per se. The compartment is made for permeable materials that would get damaged if something happened to it. The plastic shimmers like lapis lazuli, but it is not see-through. You cannot see to its center. With your hands, U4 sized pages hang from the clip screwed to the top of the board. There he still is, looking right through you with his white eyes. The body below is entirely dedicated to that corpse smell. As you breathe in, the odor comes over you. It's a smell of the mind telling you to run, and your stomach to wring itself empty. With your hands at your sides and your eyes squinting, you stand in it. It's a puzzle. What's hanging in front of you is a puzzle of decaying flesh, tattoos, and tendons.
They do after 7 days, yes. We are deep in decomposition here.
The man before you is naked, but for a pair of underpants and enameled boots. His skin is greenish, marbled with decaying veins, and blotched by lividity. A fading web of tattoos covers his chest and shoulders. The cargo belt used to fasten him to the branch above appears industrial in strength. The material appears to be ceramic. Its clean white stands in stark contrast to the decaying flesh above the knee. The man wore thick polymer socks, probably for padding. A fine array of interlocking plates covers them. These are clearly not boots. They're armor, possibly part of a larger set.
Indeed. Technically speaking, these are sabatons, not boots.
Oh, the lieutenant uses a memo technique A6. That's not just any notebook, it's a classic. It's clearly some manner of super armor, or future armor. Super future armor? I'm useless.
Ceramic plate. Zirconium dioxide, most likely. This is where the make would be. Under the heel. Fair weather. Fair weather model T500 VE. I'm guessing that's vitreous enamel. This is advanced stuff.
A small bell-like sound fills the air, like tapping on the side of a porcelain cup.
It's anything but. This material is a kinetic redistributor. It spreads kinetic energy horizontally, from plate to plate, dissipating it entirely. See?
Faint, organic lines cover the plates where they separate into smaller ones. These plates then divide into smaller plates until there are hundreds of them, like whirls of floorboards. The design looks organic, influenced by highly resistant wood materials, like lignum vitae and ebony perhaps. If trees were made of porcelain, this is what their cross-sections would look like. The smooth, glossy surface fractures into ever more intricate interconnections, peaking on the right sabaton, where you notice. The whirls are in the shape of a letter and number combination, E50, 100, 1000.
Good. Can you read it to me?
X5415 6745 678222. Let's lie.
We have a make and a number. That's something. We can use the radio in my kinema when we're done. Either station can chase it for us. That's for us to find out. Mr. Gart implied he was security personnel for the harbor company. This confirms my own assumptions. Just something I scraped together from my station. An area report on Martinez. I'm sure you did the same. I agree. This equipment is way beyond what a guard can afford. Piece by piece. He's been out here for 7 days. It would be odd if they didn't. We should keep a lookout for these species. The armor could yield information. This is one thing he might actually know. No, I think he had something precious underneath the clothes. They had to remove the jeans and shirt we found to get to it. And this kind of armor is often worn under fabrics.
Nice. That makes sense.
They usually hang them completely naked for that. La puta madre, the Mazda, the Besmerties and the like. This one still has his underpants.
Fucking talking about underpants.
Clearly, Kuno would like to interject something here, but there's not enough for him to hold on to. The stench fills your nostrils. As you push downward, an ominous creaking sound comes from above.
Stop! Pig's gonna pull his head off.
Brutal!
You're going to pull his head off.
Do it, homo!
Yes, that's what I said. You'll compromise the coroner's case if you do. So please, don't.
Indeed, from this angle, it does look like the neck isn't going to take much more. Being dead for a week has all but liquefied his muscles.
What are you trying to achieve anyway? Why are you hanging on to that boot? How many clues do you need? You already found a number. Besides, there's no way you're getting them off. All the organic matter in his body has been flowing down into the boots. They are fused to his feet now. Why do you think the locals haven't scavenged them yet?
You're sure there's a way to peel them off, but first the body needs to be down. And second, it would probably be better if the lieutenant wasn't around. The anticipation makes you crack your fingers. Feels nice. Nice and cracky.
Processing will take care of them. With the situation in the morgue, it will yield nothing. But we must pick our fights. Should we continue?
The cadaver slowly twists on the cargo belt, his torso covered in tattoos, and extremities blotched pink and blue. The hangman's knot is pulled tight by the weight of the corpse below. Yellow, hard-edged polyester cuts into his neck. Above, a sliding buckle ties the belt to the branch. This is a steel-reinforced cargo lashing belt, big brother of the regular cargo belt. It's used for tying cargo under 6-rotor airships.
Airlifting. I thought it was used on lorries for strapping cargo to them. The local harbor uses 6 rotors to shuffle containers around. I get the sense they use whatever was on hand without paying much attention to not incriminating themselves. I'm still approaching this as a lynching, yes, motivated by the ongoing strike. You? 70% of the cases I get are just filling in the blanks on the initial report. This belt worries me. I was afraid it would be. Thin steel wiring, parallel strands. This makes getting him down more problematic than I had assumed. A noose is one of those things that's easier to use one way around. That ladder can't carry a grown man. I didn't see any splintering either, did you? I think they lassoed the branch, then pulled on the belt to close the buckle.
Could be. The shape of the branch supports the theory. The cadaver hangs from the cargo belt, limbs limp and torso covered in tattoos. An intricate web of blue lines stretches across the torso, from the right shoulder to the solar plexus. Each time they intersect, a small white star is formed in their crossing. Hundreds of fading asterisks riddle his skin. Their concentration is highest around his heart.
I have only a cursive knowledge of the science of cybernetics. I would not know if it were. But it's not quite complex enough, is it?
It doesn't seem familiar from the insides of any radio computer your mind can imagine. The somewhat organic lines remind you of old filament memory units, but not quite. No, you're nowhere near right.
So am I.
He wears a wide leather belt around his waist and a gun holster under his arm. He takes a thin piece of milled aluminium from his coat pocket and pulls it open. Sounds like a sword, being unsheathed. A small lens appears, some sort of camera.
A Trigger Sunshine Mini.
Triggered is the world's leading manufacturer of intercommunication devices, primarily projectors. The camera before you looks familiar somehow.
Shit, Kuno! What the fuck is that?
An instant color camera. I have only 2 ampoules, so nobody move. I don't want to waste one.
A sound, a shrill flash, followed by the breaking of a small ampoule of glass. You see streams of color pour onto the thick, glossy piece of paper, rolling out.
In case we need it. Yes, it is pretty cool, isn't it?
There is only one ampoule left. Use it wisely.
It contains insight to the victim's person. By his build, I'd say this was a man of physical violence. The story he wanted his body to tell was important to him. It is his letter to us. Someone should decipher it. We'll need to show it around. Sure, just don't lose it.
The glassy-eyed corpse looks by, his mouth mute and his skin as colorful as the chemical rainbow on the photo paper, teeming with opportunistic organisms. His eyes are milky white and blind to the world, protruding comically from their sockets. There is no one home, just subaquatic terrors there. Dark brown hair grows on his head. His face is ready to explode from the organic processes inside. The death's head grin has passed. What remains is an unrecognizable mess. The corpse is dead silent. You have no idea why you just said that.
Who is he? He is male, 40 to 50, with an athletic build.
The corpse looks right through you as you distance yourself from its stench, eyes like a shark. As you narrow your eyes, the monster before you blurs into a violent mess of green and pink. This is a trick. You've done it before. Pink is where the blood settled in the first hours post-mortem. You can use it to see if the corpse has been tampered with. Does his position at the time of death match the discoloration? Only the lower extremities are pink with a dash of blue. His fatted hands, thighs, and his neck, just above the noose. The rest of the corpse appears dark green in the cold spring air.
I see it. His neck too. The lividity goes right up his chin. We have good, well-pronounced discoloration here.
The monster comes back into focus, an explosion of color, coursing with dark marbled veins. His stomach appears pregnant with something. Black liquid streams down his thigh and onto his boot.
So, what do you think? Agreed, especially on the neck. The belt acted like a tourniquet, keeping the blood in his head. The hypostasis supports a hanging. There's always a chance. We should check for ligament marks on his neck to see if they're in tune with the belt. We'll have to get him down first. I do. Most of them are post-mortem. Maybe even all of them. The delinquents have made our jobs harder with their little sport.
Stop talking in riddles, coin slot.
It means you fucked him up good, Kuno. Fucked him up brutal-like.
A pool of blood and feces has eaten into the frozen mud below the man's feet. Purge liquid is dripping into it, drop by drop.
The victim appears to have contained no more than half a kilogram of digestion at the time of death.
The fuck are you saying?
Talking about shit.
Maybe. I agree.
His personality is no longer a part of the world.
Totally dead. That sounds about right, yes.
But there is no breath to catch. Only the cadaver filling the air and your nostrils. He slowly rotates before you, decomposing.
Are you sure we finished the preliminary examination of the cadaver? We might miss some of these things once he's done.
The cadaver slowly twists on the cargo belt, his torso covered in tattoos, and...
The steel-reinforced belt presents a unique challenge. I brought chain cutters, but I don't see a good angle of approach to the belt.
He doesn't actually think the challenge is unique. He thinks it's frustrating, annoying, and harder than he thought.
The cadaver is a good 1.2 meters up. Neither one of us can reach the belt without assistance. And even if we do, there's the question of cutting the airship strength material. Someone else? You mean like the police?
What was that about processing, then? Weren't they supposed to take care of the boots? Why don't they help?
Sadly, yes. The whole RCM is out there right now, doing the exact same thing we are. Are we in a rush to help them? Not with this on our hands. I know it's hard, but I assure you, the others won't come to help us. And we have a growing sanitary concern here. We need to get him down, fast. Climb up there and saw the branch? There has to be a less risky way, with less falling down of trees. I was really hoping we wouldn't. The Union appeared to be suspect in this case. It seems like a dangerous route to go down.
I would really prefer if there was another way. These people might have an agenda. But what other options? The corpse twists on the belt, like chicken on a skewer.
Yeah! Bang bang time, pig! Shoot his head off!
How?
Where the buckle ties the rope to the branch, that's a good spot to aim.
Where? Ah, yes, I see. If the shot hits that, there might be a chance to release the belt.
Yeah, now we're talking. Entertain a Kuno with some shit.
They'll miss! The pigs will miss Kuno!
I'll blow his head off.
Take it! Take the shot!
Yeah, take the shot. Kuno wants some of that shit.
Silence. With his elbow sharp, the lieutenant unzips his jacket and produces a lightweight firearm. He drops a paper cartridge in the barrel, separates the scouring stick, and gives the cartridge 5 tucks, securing it in place. That's a Kiel A9090 Armistice, mass-produced muzzle-loader, ascetic, frugal, one of the most common firearms in the world. He then steps back and assumes the fellow's desk position, taking aim. The corner of his eye twitches. His finger is on the trigger.
He's gonna fucking miss!
The kid's voice is drowned in a shrill blast that echoes off the walls of the surrounding tenements. A cloud of smoke slowly parts in the air as the lieutenant steps back and says to himself,
God damn it.
A lot of things were wrong with that shot. The fellow's test was the wrong choice. His shoulders were raised, but above all, he cannot trust his eyesight.
Fucking idiot! Mookabat asshole!
Kuno could have hit it easy, but then Kuno's not fucking handicapped, is he? Kuno's sorry too. Kuno feels sorry for the Beano-clad.
The lieutenant doesn't say a word, just looks at the gun in his hand.
Remain collegial, officer. It was an honest mistake, and I will not repeat it. No, we are lucky as it is. We didn't break anything, and the victim remains uncompromised. Any more mistakes could put us in an unfortunate position with the locals. I have to say, it's beginning to look unlikely we can get him down without assistance.
You know, you don't feel like too bad of a shot yourself.
It's bad as it is, us shooting firearms like punks. Go ahead, I'm not stopping you. Just don't lose it.
They only have one gun!
This is the sorriest pair of pigs Kuno's ever seen.
Yeah, take it, you fucking banani poika! Take it and shoot yourself in the mouth!
The cold piece of bakelite and gunmetal is surprisingly light. Your fingers fit right through the guard, instinctively resting on the trigger.
The fuck are you waiting for, Kuno? Tell him to shoot himself in the mouth!
The buckle comes into focus in your sights. You stand with your feet planted firmly in the ground and your left hand supporting your gun arm.
Why don't you just shoot yourself in your mouth? At least you won't miss.
Your field of view narrows. The branch slowly moves, becoming entirely two-dimensional. The metal buckle glimmers, catching the noon light as the corpse slowly rotates. The slow movement of the branch in the wind and your shoulders directing the gun sink up, dancing hypnotically.
Look, he's crying! You gonna cry now, fucking faggoty? Or what? You gonna fuck me? You wanna fuck me, pig? Is that what this is about?
The buckle explodes into tiny pieces, coming loose with a whir. With your hand numb from the recoil, you look at the body slump down. For a moment, the man appears to kneel in front of you. Then the rigor in his muscles gives up, and he smashes sideways into the spring mud, letting out a horrid stench.
Ace is high.
The Ace is High, a custom invented by the aerostatic brigades during the Revolution, is used to celebrate success in Revachol, especially in sports. The gesture is spread across the world, despite the defeat of the revolutionaries themselves. The lieutenant takes a little hop to perform the customary salutation. Your palm hurts from the slap. It's precise and down to the point.
I knew these guys were f***ed.
Officer, let's keep our attention on the victim. We will perform a field autopsy and determine the cause of death. But before... Excuse me.
Slumped on the ground like that has not improved the way the corpse smells. The fall seems to have released something deep inside it.
It looks like I feel like taking a break from the stench. I'm sorry to interrupt the jubilations here. Just a little breather before we do the autopsy. Yes, the 4 phases of a murder scene. 1. Investigation of the scene. I'm satisfied with that part. The trash container, the prints, we've been thorough enough. 2. Initial examination of the victim. We were exhaustive in our efforts there. Good job. 3. Field autopsy. This will not be pleasant or easy, and it will have to be performed on the scene.
The fuck are they on about?
Cops are gonna cut his shit up next.
4 and final, transport of the coroner's case to the district morgue. I'll do that. God, it stinks. No, you and I are detectives. The honorary rank of detective signifies our ability to handle the entire incident chain. From crime scene to autopsy to cleanup, we do it all. An honor and a burden attached to your rank. Mine is Lieutenant Detective, unfortunately. I can't tell you how tired I am of this corpse. With shooting like that, Of course you are. Your station would not have assigned you to this case otherwise. In the meantime, we should try to interview Everard Clare, the leader of the Union. Harbor property was clearly used in the hanging. The harbor just east of here. Getting in might prove a challenge, though. Or we could ask around for the representative of the logistics company. My initial information says the Wild Pines have sent some sort of strike negotiator to wrangle control back from Everard. Yes, and those were the interviewees. Let's go.